Hello friends, today I'm with volume 2 for the contracts management and the claim management. There should be a distinction in the claim when the contractor is entitled for the claim or not. Some additional, not only claim, additional time, EOT. For EOT also there should be an event occurred due to which he is entitled for that. So there should be a very strict compliance with contracts procedures to be followed. So without those, there will not be any EOT or claims will be allowed. So in this, in FIDIC, it is very clearly mentioned who is disrupting the project, who is delaying the project. Accordingly, it will be applicable. So I would like to talk about one of the project which I have completed. It is Fujairah Alaka Resort, which I was there. In that, it was a 5-star resort by Emirates Airlines. So it was one of the best resort in those vicinity. So the project consists of 350 keys. It is on the just on the bank of the sea. It has the biggest swimming pool, and there is a sewage treatment plant, water treatment plant, LPG distribution, scuba diving areas, and there are many facilities over there. So I was there from the scratch of that project, from the beginning, and those are really a very great experiences which I'm just showing it to you, the picture of the project. So if any time, if you are happen to go there, so don't miss that place. It is in Fujairah, near to Dubai. It's almost 150 kilometers from the Dubai. So it's a nice place to roll out fully, relax. Now we'll take a FIDIC clause 2.1. It says, if the contractor suffers delay and incurs cost as a result of failure by the employer to give any such rights of possession within such time, the contractor shall be entitled subject to subclause 20.2. Claims for payment or EOT. EOT or payment of such cost plus profit. If the project is delayed by the employer, it happens in most of the projects in India. They delay due to their financial conditions, due to their will, whatever possible, whatever excuses they have. Okay, stop the work, reduce the manpower, reduce the tools and tackles. So this comes a very surprise to the contractor. In those areas, what contractor has to do? Note down the events, record, and notify the client or the consultant. This is very important. Once you record the events, that is the base for your claims. This one has to happen through project managers, senior engineers in the site. Without notification, no claim is allowed. No claim is entertained by the client and consultants. The event occurs whenever the event occurs within 7 days. Within 7 working days, you have to submit the notification, if possible with a estimation of cost. The event, why event occurred, what is the reason behind the event, and approximate cost of the event. This is very important. So without these procedures, These are contractual procedure and FIDIC procedures to be followed. Most of the projects delays months together and no records, then on what basis you are going to put the claims, isn't it? So now we'll take FIDIC clause number 8.6. That was from the client's delay. Okay, now we'll go through this. If any act of default caused by the authorities, the delay of disruption was unforeseeable, then this delay or disruption will be considered as cause of delay under subparagraph of subclause 8.5. Extension of time for completion, and the employer shall pay or allow such damages as the contractor shall have incurred by the delay. So this is authoritative delays or unforeseen delays. For example, now pandemic is going on. So in this pandemic, there is a huge delay is happened already. But whether are you included this clause in your contract, that's important. If you would have included, definitely you are entitled for the extension of time and the cost, which is applicable at that duration of time. So whenever you are writing a contract, to see all four sides of the project, anything can happen in the during the project. So all these clauses has to be seen precisely and very minutely. Sometimes we think that okay, this may not happen, this may not, but you have to be very careful when you are making a contract with the client and the consultants. Now we'll come to claims guidelines. This is very important. When you are making claims, it should be made promptly. Prompt claim is always recognized and accepted by the consultant and client. It should not be on final account. It should, as I mentioned, it has to be notified within 7 days of the event occurred. Then be specific. Whatever claim is there, it should have a proper causal link. It should not be exorbitant. If you make it exorbitant, it is going to be rejected straight away. It has to be specific, very clear, and as I mentioned, it should be at a causal effect link. When it has happened, why it has happened, what is the reason behind to happen this event. These are the causal links which you have to establish when you go for the claim. Relate to project's loss that could not be claimed as a variation. If a contractor is facing loss, so those losses should not be considered as claims. That is, you have to consider, you have to be careful in that way. Causes of claims. Causes of claims are very, different in nature. So those we cannot, predict. Claims happens based on the events. Nature of construction. What kind of construction is there depends on the claim arises. Division of responsibilities. In the project, when you put responsibilities, a different department, different contractors, there also the chances of claim rises more. Poor pre-contract planning. Pre-contract planning, if you are doing with a very less importance for the project management, then the claim occurs. For example, project awarded without finalization of the drawings, without finalization of the schemes of services, of structure, of architectural items, so and interior designer items. These are the windows where claims comes up at the time of finishing or during the project. You have to be very clear at the time of awarding the project. Inadequate tender informations. When you are putting a tender, when you get a tender from the client or the consultants, if there is not enough information in the tender, technical specification, your BOQ specifications, and special conditions of contracts, so these are all specifications. If they are not giving the scope of work, if scope of work is not clear, BOQ is not clear, drawings are not finalized, definitely there will be a chance of claims. So now, inadequate tender informations. So these are very important before you start a project. If you have a complete comprehensive informations, then definitely claims will not occur. It may subside, it may reduce. I can't say that it will not be there, but there will be a reduction in the claims. That is every client and consultant has to look into very precisely and deeply. The fifth one is wrong tendering procedure. Myself as an estimation manager, I have quoted around, as mentioned last in the volume 2 also, volume 1. So procedure of tendering is very important. In this, what is the scope? For example, in civil construction, are all the items have considered as per the BOQ? If it is lump sum contract, there is a different procedure, and if it is a remeasurable contract, there is a different procedure. We'll take lump sum contract. In Middle East, almost all projects are lump sum contract. In India, it is a remeasurable contract. So now we'll stop this here and we'll take up the measurable contract and lump sum contract, and there are causes of the claims that we'll see in the next video.